Hello everyone and welcome to part 9 of the Nature Lapbook series. I want to play some more with Vellum. I've been really trying to find different ways to use it because I have a lot of Vellum and I've printed on a lot of it and I just want to use it. So I had an idea in mind and at first I tried to do it with the original envelope that I attached to the back side, but it didn't work. So I'm gonna grab a new envelope and I'm gonna show you all the steps that I did with this new envelope. Of course you can try to use the envelope that is attached. For me it didn't work, but maybe for you it will. I am going to score a small spine of I think it's 1/4 of an inch or 1/8, one of the two. I'm gonna score a small spine and then I'm gonna ink all around the envelope with scorched timber. I am then going to cut it to the size that I want my vellum. I've already cut everything to size because I tried it, right? So yeah, that's why everything is already cut to size. I am going to open up the envelope on both sides and you will see in a second why I do that. The thing that I want to do is I want to make a frame where I can slide the vellum inside, and I thought it would work easier if I left it like this, leave it open, so then I can easily glue everything inside and then just flip it closed. I thought, yeah, that worked better, and it did work a lot better. So yeah, if you can do this with your existing envelope, you're a genius, but I couldn't. I was ripping it on all parts, so let me tell you, this is way easier. Just grab a new envelope. And here I'm going to mark 1 centimeter on each side. That's how thick I want the pocket to become. But you can take your own measurements, of course. Just see how thick you want the border to be and make a frame. That's basically it. So I'm gonna cut all of that out, and now we have the same thing that I have, what you saw with the old envelope, but this one can be flipped open, which is way easier to work with. I'm gonna ink the edges again on the parts where I've cut, because I wasn't sure yet how I wanted to decorate this, which is why I inked it. I also took a piece of white cardstock, which I'm going to ink all around because I want this to be a pocket, but I want 2 different sides. So the front side I want to have a pretty design just to look at, but on the other side I want it to be a pocket. And when you place 2 different pieces of vellum to each other, I don't really like how that looks, so I'm going to add a piece of white cardstock in between so that you will have 2 completely different looks on both sides. So I'm going to glue down this vellum with a bit of art glitter glue. I'm doing it very carefully because I don't want to smudge the glue onto the vellum. So I'm using just the tiniest bit. And see how easy it is now to glue this in. I tried doing it with the envelope shut. It was not gonna work. It was not gonna work. But I had to cut everything out because this video was going way too long. So yeah, I edited it out because I was gonna make it anyway. I glued the cardstock to the flower vellum. And now I'm going to glue the other piece of vellum to this side of the window. And this is actually part of the Tim Holtz backdrops. And I copied it with my printer onto vellum. So, and this will be the pocket side. Yeah, and I'm just checking to see if everything is straight, and I'm going to ink where needed. And then I decided I wanted to use more of the Tim Holtz cardstock, the one that you can sand down, because I've been using it throughout this journal for tabs, and yeah, I think mostly tabs. And I want to have a unity in my journal, so or in Lapbook, I mean. So I decide to make frames from this cardstock, and then I'm going to cut the pieces that I need. And at first I only cut 3 pieces, but then I decide to also close the frame. So there's going to be 4 pieces actually. It's going to be a completely window. A complete window. So yeah, I'm just gonna sand it down with my sanding disc. And I'm obsessed with this cardstock. I'm obsessed. I really want to buy the other colors too, and they're very. I wish there was like bigger sizes, like A4 sheets of this, because these are a bit more smaller than A4. But I'm obsessed. I use this a lot, and I love it. So yeah, be prepared to see me use this almost everywhere. I just love the grungy look. It looks amazing. So yeah, I'm gonna attach them all to both the sides, and also I sewn around both of the sides. It's hard to talk. Anyway, do the sewing very quick, very carefully, because I messed up here and there. I don't mind it. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect, but yeah, be very careful when you sew it. And when you glue the pockets shut to each other, don't glue down the button part, otherwise you will lose your pocket, obviously. And here I am checking to see which one of the sides I like to be the front. And I decide to have the floral part to be the first thing you see when you open it. So that's going to be the front. And I'm gonna glue it down with glue stick on the back side of the Lapbook, or the folio. This is folio, yeah. All these words. All the terms. Oh Lord, okay. I also decide to put eyelets through the corners. Now, if you'd be smart, you would do this before you glue it down. But of course, I didn't really think about it. Afterwards only. So yeah, I was too late. But if you want to add some eyelets, do it before you glue it down. It makes your life a whole lot easier. And then I want to add some more hardware. So I have this chain, and I have this in my stash for years and years, because I used to make bracelets, like those wraparound bracelets, and I wanted to try more stuff, but jewelry making is not for me. I'm way too impatient for it, and it's so fiddly with the pliers, and I just suck at it. Okay, so but I do want to use it, so most of it is off camera, because I was like, it wasn't working the way I wanted it. But anyway, I'm going to attach this chain to a big jump ring, and then I'm going to cut it to size. At first I wanted to do it all the way around, but then I was like, no, that's going to be way too much. So I end up attaching it completely at a different place. So it's going to be on the top of the pocket. So yeah, ignore this, but it's the same process actually. You have to attach it like this. You open the rings. How do you explain that? I cannot explain that. Anyway, here you can see that I've placed them on top. And now I want to add some more bling. So I'm going to start with 2 charms. I'm opening up the jump rings, as you saw, and then I'm going to attach it to the chain, and I'm also going to attach the charm to it, which is a peacock feather, I believe. But it also could substitute for a leaf. So I was like, okay, close enough. I didn't really have any leaves. So this was the closest thing that I could find. And then I also want to add this lucky coin. I found this in a thrift haul in my local thrift shop. I also remember that I told you guys that there was another thrift haul coming this week, but for some reason I accidentally deleted the video. I edited it, it was done. I only needed to upload it, but I empty out my computer every few days because the videos take up so much space. So I think I accidentally just deleted the wrong video, and I also deleted it out of the bin, so the video's gone. It was a haul from a thrift shop. You didn't really miss that much. It wasn't a big one. Mostly beads and such. But yeah. So this charm or this coin was from there. And I added a bit of string around it, and then I attach it to the back side of the eyelet and place a double knot so that it won't fall through. And here I made some small charms with small beads. Please look up a tutorial how to make charms, because I cannot explain how I did this because I suck at it, and it's basically just luck that it worked out, because yeah, I'm just terrible at making the perfect loops. And you know, just look up a tutorial there. I bet there's plenty of people who can explain to you in detail how to do this. But I'm going to attach these tiny little beads all along the chain. Here you can see me try to show you guys how I do it, but I mess up all the time. This one was closest to being okay, I guess. I'm not sure. I'm not a jewelry maker, to be honest. You know, I tried it for a while, but it didn't work out. The wrap bracelets were fun though. Those for those who didn't really need the pliers, you used like needles and such. You just weave in the beads over leather. I don't know how to explain it. I can show you maybe later in the future. Maybe I will use one of those bracelets in a journal sometime. I don't know. But anyway, this is the charm chain finished, and I absolutely love it. And I'm glad that I only did it on the top side and not all the way around, because that would have taken me hours and hours and hours. And here I'm going to create a quick journal card. These are part of the September subscription kit from Pink Monarch Prints. We have been using that kit pretty much all throughout the Lapbook. I am going to double them up together with some glue stick, roughen up the edges with my scissor, and then ink around with scorched timber. I'm also going around with my sanding disc. I've tried this earlier also in the mini file folder that we did. That was also regular paper. That's the first time I tried it out, and it worked. So I'm trying it on different types of paper to see what works and what doesn't. But most often it works fine. And I like the more destroyed look. You guys know that by now, that's my thing. So now I'm going to add one of these tabs again on the side of the journal card. And this time I'm not gonna put eyelets in, because there's already a lot of eyelets going on and I wanted something different. So I decided to put on a number stamp on both sides. Oh, I also sewn the one edge where the tab is. I'm also going to look for a few small decorations. So I'm looking through my Tim Holtz number strips. And then I add a bit of handmade paper, tissue paper, sort of. That's not really tissue. It's more like fabric-y, I would say. Yeah. I'm roughening up the edges with my nails and then glue it down with art glitter glue. I'm also gonna look for a snippet to put with it to make it a bit more like a cluster. And it took me a while to figure out how I wanted to arrange it, and then it was like, okay, just go for it, glue it down already. Yeah, decorating can take the longest for me, I don't know. I try to make quicker decisions, but it's not really working all the time. And I didn't really like the image on the back bottom of the card, like on this flower, this 29 yellow square thing. I didn't really like that, so I went looking for something to put on top. And I also added some snippets and a label from my label tin, mini tin. These are all these tiny labels are all digitals. I have no idea which one this is because there's multiple sets in there. So I couldn't really tell you even if I wanted to. I'm sorry. And then it fits in perfectly. Oh, and I'm gonna stamp the number on now, like I said before. This is why I love printables. Sometimes when you just want something quick and easy, these printables are like perfect. I mean, you just glue them together, decorate them a tiny bit, and boom, you're done. They're very quick. All right, slides in perfectly. And now I want to make another pocket. But I want to do slit pockets. So I'm using the same Tim Holtz cardstock and I am cutting it to size to make another frame. But this time I'm going to make a frame like I always do, just cut out the middle part and make it a one-piece thing, not the 4 different, because I don't know why. I thought it looked better. Also, I'm going to make it a bit thinner because this strip you see here, that's actually what inspired me to make another frame. So I'm using that as a guide and then I am going to cut it out with a knife. And do that very carefully because it's very thin. Well, the paper is, of course, very sturdy, but the frame is thin, so it rips easily. And here I am going to see on which side I want it. And then I decide to do it on this side because you can probably see the red stain. I accidentally messed that up a few videos ago with some ink. So this would be a perfect spot to make the frame because then you cannot really tell there's a stain there. And I had these pieces of vellum in my stash for a long time. These are from not AliExpress. These are from Action, a Dutch shop, like a Dollar Tree shop. And I am going to cut it to size. And then I'm going to attach it to the frame with some, how do you call it again? Double-sided tape. And also a reason why I'm using the tape instead of the art glitter glue is because this frame is smaller and it's easier to mess up with your glue then. And now I'm going to take off one of the backings and then I'm going to glue the vellum in its place. And I do it like this because it's easier because double-sided tape is very sticky. So this makes it easier to stick it down straight. And then I remove the rest of the backings. And I'm already liking how it looks. I love it. I don't really use gold that often, but now I actually don't mind it. I think it looks cool. And here I'm going to mark where I want the slits to be. And I'm going to cut 2 pieces of the Tim Holtz cardstock again. And these are going to be a bit wider, because we need to cut them in two, sort of, and then they will be just as wide as the sides, if that makes sense. And here I'm going to stick it down with the double-sided tape. And I do that with the other one as well, dividing the window in threes. Now I am going to grab my crocodile because I want to make the small holes to see where I need to cut the slit. But I'm using a card, the one that I want to slide in, as a guide so that I know where I need to poke the holes. And then I'm sliding the slider thingy, I don't know what it's called, but I'm sliding it to the position where I want all the holes to be, and this makes it easy because now all the holes are going to be on the exact same place. And then I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to cut out the slit. Yeah, and as you can see, the frames are now pretty much the same size as the sides are. They're maybe a tiny bit smaller, but it doesn't look like that. So that's why I like this. I'm also going to poke some holes on all the corners and at the slits as well. And I'm going to add the mini eyelids from Tim Holtz, because I didn't want to do sewing now because I did that on the other pocket already and I wanted something different. So yeah, I decided to add those tiny breads or split pens, breads. Oh, breads. I always call them split pens, but they're breads. Finally, I found the word. Jesus, that took me like 10 videos. Okay, so I am going to put them in all the holes. And I really, really like how it turned out. And now I'm going to stick it down. And this time I am using art glitter glue. You could have done this with double-sided tape as well, but I think art glitter glue is a bit more sturdy. So that's why I use art. And I'm also going to glue the tops of the slit, because that will create pockets. And if you wonder what that white stuff is on the back side, I've placed some of that white tissue feel paper thingy on it because it was a bit sticky still from the double-sided tape and it was easier to work with, but you don't see it on the front. So it was just to remove the stickiness of the double-sided tape that was still showing. Oh man, I love this so much. It looks so cool. Yeah, and I'm glad that I did it on the outside, because then when you flip it over, it will look different on the inside. So it's not too matchy with the pocket next to it. And as you can see, the cards slide in perfectly. I'm going to back them up with some coffee stained paper. And I'm going to glue them on with some glue stick. And then I'm gonna cut them out and roughen them up a bit with some scorched timber. Oh, and I'm also gonna round the corners, and I do that with the smallest setting. In this video, I only construct the pockets and such. I'm not doing that much decorating because the video is already almost a half an hour and I don't want my videos to be too long. So there's no real decorating, but I'm gonna do that in the next part probably. So don't worry, there will be more decorating. After inking, I decide that I want 2 tabs, but I don't want to use the Tim Holtz cardstock again because I've used it quite a bit now. So it will be too much in the same place, I think. So I'm using some fabric instead, and I'm cutting 2 strips of some scrap fabric that I had. and I'm going to use that to make 2 tabs. And because it's very hard to do this with a stapler, I thought it'd be better to add a tiny bit of glue and then just staple it. It's way easier this way. And I'm doing that with my copper staples. I'm running out of copper staples, so I'm gonna have to find a place to order them because I like using them. I've used them in my fall journal quite a bit because that's before I got a sewing machine. But ever since I got my sewing machine, I stopped using the staples, and I was like, oh, why am I not using my staples anymore? So I'm trying to edit a bit more. And yeah, anyway, I like how this looks. I'm grunging up the fabric a bit. This is also the end of the video. I hope you guys loved it, and I might do if you want, I can do a more detailed video on how I made these. Thank you all for watching. I wish you a nice day, and I will see you next time. Bye!